So we're just going to do a quick manicure for this client. And this is the only time when I would recommend a hardener, because I don't recommend hardeners often, so I'm going to apply some. As you can see, like the nails look very shiny and they're not damaged whatsoever. It's just that they're very flexible. You see, when I bend, you can see the redness. These ones are actually good. I'm not gonna use a hardener on the thumbs, which is quite normal. Okay, so these are all quite flexible. All right, I'm going to do a quick spray with alcohol just to make sure that there was nothing on the surface, so the hardener soaks in really well. So I'm going to use Mavala, and Mavala had two hardeners. One contained formalin, the original one, and the other one contains dimethylurea. So this is what we're going to use. The other one is unfortunately not available anymore. So now I've had some questions on YouTube because they recommend using it like here. And the reason why they recommend that, because they don't want people to overdo it. But you know what? Because I'm using this for the first time on this client, I'm going to use on the whole surface. And then if she, let's say, was doing every second day application, then I would recommend going like this only. Okay, but this is not going to over harden the nails. And really, dimethylurea as an ingredient, it does not show that it has the ability necessarily to over harden the nails. So I'm not that worried. Okay, this is my HEPA filter. I'll score the file a little bit. This dries usually within a minute or so. But I find actually on nails that are quite shiny naturally, it doesn't soak in. So the nails are not very porous. You can see, I guess. It's just my guess. There is a split here. That is unfortunately quite common because there is a little ridge here, and that's where the nail has weakness, because it's just the nail is not making itself very evenly. So some areas make more cells, some areas make less, and I guess that's why the split happens.
I closed the door
of the there you go.
On my,
yeah.
my nail.
Exactly. So sometimes it's due to a trauma, right, in the matrix area. So this is why it can't be really fixed. All you can do is you can try to protect that area as much as you can and care for that nail and keep it usually short, as the client is doing, to try to take the pressure off the nail. You can see it's been like a minute and a half. The product soaked in nicely. So with this product, you can use it, they say 2 to 3 times a week. And then as maintenance, I don't know, maybe once a week or something. So you want to use it on a naked nail. So you see, these nails don't need it. This nail has a perfect balance actually between flexibility and hardness. And that's where strength is, because people sometimes assume that strength always comes from extra hardness, but that's not the case. Sometimes yes, like in case of this client, the 4 nails, but not always. So strength is a perfect balance between flexibility and hardness. You don't want the nails too hard and you don't want them too flexible. And the reason why you don't want them too flexible is because when they have so much flex, they don't hold products very well. So the polish will, chip off right away, unfortunately. And sometimes the nails break because they're just flimsy, because they move too much, they bend too much, and if that happens, then the nail gets sometimes little cracks, as probably this one did. So keeping the length consistent is also a good idea. By the way, if you have the access to the original Mavella hardener and your nails are very flexible, I think it's a good idea to use it. Here in European Union, the formalin, I don't think it's allowed to be used in hardeners anymore, sadly, because it is a very effective hardener, very fast acting hardener, but I guess some people were overdoing it and they're just concerned with allergic reactions. I mean, it can happen, but used properly, honestly, I've never seen any issues. But the problem is that a lot of people, when they have damaged nails, they use it because they think, you know, it's going to fix their nails somehow, and that's not a good idea. They can actually over harden the nail. That can cause onycholysis, so separation, or even over hardening the nails is not a good idea either. And you can't reverse it. Once the nails are over hardened, you can't reverse it, meaning they just have to grow out. So anyway, I'm just going to smooth the free edge. Smooth it so it's nice and smooth. And very often when people have such shiny nails, using a buffer block like this, 280 grit or whatever it is, would make the nails a little bit more, I guess, porous or less shiny, and the polish would hold on a little bit better. But you know, pros and cons to everything, because eventually that can definitely weaken the nail. So once or twice, okay, but when it comes to buffing and removing layers off the nails, that's not always a good idea, especially when the nails are that flexible. Because with toenails, you can do that sometimes because toenails are very thick, but the nails, not always. So just nudging the skin fold. The cuticle is here, you see that white stuff? And I repeat that with every video because it is a confusing matter. Sadly, even dermatologists use incorrect terms because their excuse is like, well, you know what I mean. No, I don't. It's confusing and they should be setting a good example. You see white. This white is cuticle. This is a skin fold. Adios.
Hi.
Because now I'm nudging back the skin fold and that exposes the white, which is a cuticle, and I'm going to remove the cuticle. So I'm not pushing back the cuticle. The cuticle is left on the nail. So if you're doing this at home, you definitely don't have to use electric file. It's just that electric file, when used properly, it's very safe, very good, very precise. But if you don't know how to use it properly, you can do more damage than good. So I definitely don't recommend using electric files at home. Because you know what, you have to learn it, and in order to learn it, usually people learn on their own nails and they damage their own nails, which is, I guess that's what we do as professionals. We practice on ourselves and that would damage nails, but that's not what you want to do, right? So I have to say, I did not start using electric file on the nail plate. I was like petrified. So when I first started using it, I would only use it for shortening the nails until I felt comfortable. Then I would just, because back then I was doing gels, then I would just use it in order to remove the bulk of the product from here, from this area. And then when I was comfortable with that, and we're talking hundreds and hundreds of manicures that I did. And then after that, when I was comfortable, I started using it to prep the natural nail. So that's how it went for me. You have to really feel what you're doing, because very often people now think that I'm filing the nail. No, I'm not. I'm just removing the cuticle. And you have to feel it. Cuticle feels softer. And I do these little taps and I can feel it. And I can also just exfoliate a little bit the hardened skin. And not to mention, electric file is a very good tool for a professional because we do this usually all day long. So if you're doing this once a week, you really don't need that help, right? But as a professional, yes, because the machine helps, definitely. But when you're doing this 8 hours a day, not to mention that if you want to do your own nails, then you have to also work with your non-dominant hand. That's even more difficult. And people can't even polish their nails very well with the non-dominant hand, right? I mean, yes, with the non-dominant hand. So, yeah. And applying the polish the wrong way, it's not going to damage your nails. This will, if you're not doing this properly. If you don't have the proper angle, you can definitely damage your nails. So I'm going to just snip this little piece here because otherwise it's going to tear. Other than that, I don't cut any skin around the nails. And we're pretty much done. So it's amazing what just shaping and cleaning up the nails can do. I absolutely love, this is like 15 minutes, 20 minutes usually I tell people. And amazing results, in my opinion. And also this is very low maintenance. So very often when people cut the skin around the nails, obviously the skin is going to grow harder and then you're gonna have to cut it. So with this, you don't. If you just take care of the skin around the nails, the nail contour, that skin is going to be nice and healthy and it's not going to there's not going to be a need to cut it.